Welcome, ranchers, to Mindfulness with Marcia. I read an article recently written by therapist Betsy Sansby, and it reminded me that sometimes a person just can't find any stillness anywhere. And lately, as the pandemic looms on and now seems to be heightening actually in viral transmissions, even right here in North Dakota. And the fact that I deal with my own chronic pain that always seems to increase when the weather starts to get colder. Well, I found myself, not all the time, but at times and more often, unable to find inner peace, unable to settle. And this unsettling has occurred increasingly, even during my formal practice when I'm meditating. So maybe you also are dealing with a physical ailment or chronic pain. Or perhaps you are wildly worried about a child or another loved one. Maybe during this time of increased isolation, you've experienced rejection in love. And there are so many in our communities who have had literally the bottom fall out financially. In other words, as Betsy put it, it's like we have this nest of bees in our chest, and it just won't calm down. Now, obviously, if this is something that's happening all the time and it's affecting your health, you can't sleep, you can't eat, then friends, I really ask that you seek more than mindfulness with Marcia and seek professional help, because that's not where we need to be living. And that constant feeling of unsettledness can really add to cortisol production and increased stress and higher blood pressure and a lot of things that I am not professionally qualified to really talk about. But if just now and then, or you're just feeling at times when you didn't feel it before, that there's this unsettling. And this is how you're feeling right now. First of all, you need to know it's okay not to be okay all of the time. And you know why? Because you and I are human. And life can be so very hard and unsettling, with really no clear answers available in the moment. Mindful living talks about living in the moment and being present to what we're feeling and what's going on. But with the pandemic, it just seems to have increased some of the things that we may always find that we worry a little bit about or that we think about more often, and now it seems to have increased. I'm reminded by Dr. Rick Hansen that sometimes, our practices fail us, or at least they're not matched to the pickle that we find ourselves in at the moment. Maybe you've tried your usual coping habits, unhealthy or healthy. One of my unhealthy, I love crackers, carbs. And for a while there, when I started having a few after I had not really consumed much at all, they seemed to have been helping a little bit. But in the long run, they only added to those COVID extra pounds, and they really didn't help with the unsettled feeling. And then there's those healthy things, like for me, my practice, my mindful practice, whether it's formal or informal. I've let it be, I've let it go, I've let it in, I've tried to be present, mindful, I've tried to find the lessons. Maybe you have too, and you wanted to just whack the person that told you to do it. And that might have been me. Mindfulness with Marcia. I know it's been some of my mindfulness teachers that I've wanted to whack. a time or two, or at least ask them, what the heck? I still feel awful. I still feel overwhelmed and angry and afraid, inadequate, depressed. Now what do I do? Now what do I do? And so as I was digging into this a little deeper, I knew I had some notes somewhere for one of my classes that would give me some insight. And I found that sometimes it helps to, or it was when I was a kid, see, I'm going back to the old TVs with a knob. Now we click, right? The remote. Sometimes it helps to change the channel, to take some kind of action. Watch TV, have a snack, a healthy snack. Ask for a hug, of course, if it's within your family confines and, distancing is okay. Or get out of the house for a walk, just something that's not harmful, just to kind of shake things up, distract yourself for a little while, tune out for a little while if that's what it takes. I know with the weather changing, I'm a little concerned because I used to just love to go outside, whether it was by my garden or the river or on the patio, and just kind of space out for a while and watch the clouds or watch the water. Or maybe for you, you just need to burn off that steam. Maybe you need to take a run instead of a walk. But I know at some point you still have to engage your mind directly and do what you can with the situation that is kind of causing perhaps some of this unsettledness. But please allow yourself. Yeah, this is self-care and we need it more than ever right now. Allow yourself some time or some time and place of respite, of pleasure in its own right. Maybe for you, it's jumping in the shower and using an amazing, great smelling bar of soap and just enjoying the sense of lathering up and smelling the aroma. Because those kinds of moments can help us at this time kind of refuel for these challenges that we are facing or will inevitably face. Plus, changing channels has this has a built-in benefit of taking initiative on your own behalf. A really dear friend and therapist once told me when I was probably yakking about, I don't want to do this, and I just don't feel like doing that, and I feel kind of blue, and said, Marcia, sometimes the best thing to do is to act as if. And of course, with things that are profound, I usually kind of sit back with those deer in the headlights like, act as if. What are you talking about? Act as if. Go do what you know you can do, even if you don't want to. So an example, I guess, of what this would mean to me, the other night was a long day. This was just yesterday evening. It was a long day. And then I made supper. And then I went over on the couch to sit with my fur babies and give them some hugs for being good while I was eating and not begging. I'm trying to break that habit with them and me because I'm the one who started it. But I'm ruminating on the couch now, kind of comfy with them, right? Now I've kind of pulled the covers, my Afghan, my little blanket over, and I'm thinking, I don't want to go clean up the kitchen. I don't want to. I don't want to get up and do anything. And the more I kind of sat there thinking about how I didn't want to, the more kind of unsettled and miserable I started to feel. And then that thought came to me. You gotta act as if. Put your feet on the ground, stand up, act as if you really want to. I didn't even want my feet to touch the ground because they were kind of hurting. I wore some boots with heels yesterday. I haven't done that for a while. And man, my calves, my feet were kind of hurting. I didn't want to. Just sounded totally unpleasant. Just wanted to stay there all cuddled and feeling like this is my self-care. This is what I need. But I also know that I hate getting up in the morning to a pile of dishes and mess and all of that. And I wouldn't probably want to go to bed at night without kind of finishing up that task. It's kind of like me making my bed in the morning. It's just something I like to do. It settles my mind. So I did. I did. I can't say it was like, boom, I got up. But I thought, okay, act as if, get up, and finish cleaning up this kitchen. And it got my mind off of some of the other things that was kind of bugging me from the day. It was able to allow me to think of something else. It was physical. I was able to be mindful as I was spraying and cleaning and wiping down things. I had nowhere to go and no other place to be but right there, and just kind of clean up my kitchen. You know, when you do things like that, it does help to counter that natural but harmful sense of helplessness. That's kind of another way of putting what I've been feeling, this helplessness, that's been coming from these tough times of the pandemic. And it helps me support the feeling that I really matter and my needs really matter. So this week, during your pause, for starters, you have to give yourself permission to change the channel. Sometimes I get stuck right there. I don't even want to give myself permission to change the channel, but you got to do that. And then you have to do something. And I'm not talking about ambitious. Like my kitchen wasn't like a total wreck. It wasn't a total train wreck. It wasn't real ambitious just to pick up after the dinner I had made myself. And usually the simpler the task, the better. Neurologists would say, try some physical pleasure because it helps us calm down that stress machinery of our brain and of our nervous system. So it could be just like running water over your hands or smelling an orange or simply looking at a flower. Take pause and take care. Till next time, stay safe and be well.